his workplace and see the thing, and you know, he really enjoys his work and is proud of it. So, yeah, how wonderful!
Yeah.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello.
Finally.
Hello, finally. We all meet. Yeah. So nice to meet old friends, yeah, meeting online.
Yeah.
Yes, shall we start with mantra or something?
Very good.
Yeah. Om Vang Me Manasi Pratisthita Mano Me Vachi Pratishtitam Aviravirmaeti Vedasyama Ani Stha Shrutam Me Ma Prahasi Anena Dhitena Horatran Samdadhami Ritam Vadishyami Satyam Vadishyami Tanmamavatu Tadvaktaramavatu Avatu Mam Avatu Vaktaram Avatu Vaktaram Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. All right, it was the first hymn, and we stopped at the number 3. We didn't go very far. Or we did go farther than that. Yeah, number 3 we read, and we stopped here, number 4. Agni macha devayatam manansi chakshun shiva suriya samcharanti yadim suvate ushasa virupe shveto vaji jayate agare ahnam. That was what we read, I remember, yes? The minds of men who grow in the Godhead move entirely towards the flame of will, even as all their seeings converge in the sun that illumines. When two dawns of opposite forms are delivered of him, he is born as the white steed in front of the days. Agni macha devayatam manansi. Manansi, the minds, Chakshun Shiva, and the sights or the visions. So the minds are of those who seek the embodiment of the divine. Let me read my interpretation first. It is the divine will, Agni, that the thoughts, intentions of those who aspire to divinize their nature, Devayatam, completely fixed upon, as all their seeings and visions are fixed on the sun as the origin of light. When the night and dawn, the two mothers, finally deliver him, he is born as the white steed in front of the days. So Agnim, the flame, the divine will of the ones who are seeking the divinization here, that is we who are in the process of bringing higher powers of consciousness into our frame. Devayatam, this is genitive, plural, Shashtiva Vachanam, of those who are seeking divinization, the Agni, aspire at the the thoughts, Manansi, go straight to Agni of those who seek the divinization, and their sights are moving together or completely into the sun, as if their sights are collected into the sun. This is the vision of the sun as the eye of our universe, as the eye of the gods. So the sun is considered to be the eye through which the transcendental powers or the transcendental godheads can see and view what is happening here. By the way, it represents exactly this consciousness, the divine consciousness, sight. Yeah? And the sun is the eye. It's quite interesting that the sun is the eye, not we see the sun. Yeah? But the sun sees us. And we can see because of this light which it brings into manifestation, even in the physical world. If the physical light would not be here from the sun, we would not see anything. So our sight, our eye is connected with the sun directly. It's our eye is the sun through which actually our soul sees outside. And the sun is the eye through which the gods see the world. Quite interesting analogy of.
Why do you think in the sun is considered a malefic planet?
Oh, it happened later, in much later, in post-Vedic period, when the sun became not so important because the whole transformation of nature became impossible. Even in the philosophy, Advaitic philosophy is not seeking any transformation of nature. So the sun loses its value and becomes one of the gods, and mainly malefic because he consumes a lot of soma, delight, and brings drought. Because of that, rain of heaven is not coming often, and it was considered that sun is partaking too much of soma. And in the Brahmanas already you will find these statements of these mantras where they say, sun, please don't rise with the energy of our lives, because it is considered that the sun is pulling the energies of all the creatures born here, consumes them, yeah, and gives them and consumes them. That is constant exchange between the sun and beings being born here in the world. So he takes too much soma, we will be drying up here in this manifestation. We'll have less and less delight. If he doesn't consume much soma, then it will come to us as a moisture in a way. So, and that's why the moon is not malefic. Yes, moon is opposite.
Moon can be malefic. Moon
But
can be malefic if it's a dark moon.
all right, but in general, it is.
No, in general, not. It's a soothing light.
Yes, this is exactly this idea of the water is soothing and brings the softness and life to us. The juice of life, soma, is moon, and consumer of that soma is the sun.
Mm.
And because of that, but
Well,
it is much later theory.
well, with Agni being uh, Agni, there there's several different there's several different ways that the divine will shows up, right? I mean, Agni, you said, is that aspiring, the energy that drives all beings to aspire
Right,
for the divine. But is that a will? Is that the will?
right. It's a will in nature to overcome, to overgrow its previous state, yeah, to come to better state. This very drive in nature, which we call as evolutionary drive, yes, The survival of the fittest, we can say, is the Agni, basically. It is just negative formulation. Survival of the fittest is negatively expressed the same drive to grow in consciousness and power and capacity. The whole nature is living because of this drive. All the trees are growing, the grass, everything is blooming because of this drive in nature. Otherwise, why should it do it? And the whole evolutionary process also, we are moving from animal kingdom to human and beyond because of this drive within us to overgrow, to become better in power and consciousness. And that is Agni, the divine will.
And the white steed?
Yeah, here's something else, yes. When he is, so to say, become fed by two, or no, finally delivered by two mothers, by the dawn and the night. Yes, by the dawn and night, these two twin sisters, by the illumination in our consciousness and assimilation of it into the inconscient realms of our being and consciousness. By these two Virupa, different in form, when he's delivered by them both, he becomes a steed in front of the days. That is something, I think it is a symbol of the birth of the divine in outwardly, in the outer consciousness. When we understand that the night is nothing but assimilation of light, constant assimilation of light. Once we become conscious of it, we are never against this obstacles in our life, and because we are aware, we can see what it does. We can clearly see that it assimilates and accumulates our breakthroughs in consciousness. It has to be brought into the darkness. For that purpose, it is coming here. This light is being born here for one reason: to come down into the darkness and to be assimilated in darkness, to change the darkness into a new quality of light. So when we see it, we are never disturbed anymore. Then we can be
when we can watch the news and watch Putin and Trump prancing around and not feel like we want to just lash out, then we know that the two mothers have finally delivered.
Yeah, again, Putin and Trump coming as a final argument.
Well, that's that's you have to figure what you just said is the trying to bring the light down into this plane and not be disturbed by it, and that seems to be our measuring stick.
Yeah, what was kind of mentioned in my view here, it was more subjective. What is happening to you? Yes, to me. Yeah, and that when I'm going down into the darkness, I can go consciously into that state, seeing why I am there now.
Well, that seems easier. That seems easier to do than to see things that appear to be beyond your control, and
correct.
still maintaining your understanding that all of it is perfect in nature, that it's all perfect in the divine.
I can explain also. Explaining may help or may not help, but I can see why all this Putin and Trump have their place in this world, because there were so many, and there is so much under the carpet, all those subconscious forces of the past evolution. Just look at the 20th century here, this Second World War. It's incredible what human beings are capable of. It's not human beings, it is all that under the carpet which we have to face, all those terrors, all those difficulties, heavy stuff of those unconscious, subconscious beings who want to possess this adhara. They want to have their own world outside, those underground, those beings of Mordor. You remember Mordor?
But don't you think that that's what the Rishi is referring to here? That finally delivered from.
Yeah, when delivered means that we becoming conscious of how this involution and evolution works. So evolution works always when you rise in consciousness. You will have to bring it into the assimilation, into the darkness. You have to use it, that light, as a weapon against the darkness, as a transformative power. So you will have to go down. Every time you rise higher, you dive deeper, and this will be going on more and more. It won't be less. Once that is understood, and when you become conscious, that's what I understand from this verse, then the Agni is delivered. Finally, you can see that the growth of this force of the divine is becoming conscious. That means it is on the surface. I do not know whether it is quite clear. Because if we take darkness only as something which opposes light, then we do not see it. But here they are both mothers of Agni. That darkness is also needed. It is for that darkness that we came here. It is our purpose. We came to save, to redeem the darkness. And
but when you say that, when you say redeem the darkness, it's acting as if the darkness is still something outside of ourself and outside of the light, when really it's part of the whole process.
Right. And it is outside partially to us, because we came here to this darkness which was there before us. When we came and took it onto ourselves, and we built a body out of it. This body is partially built out of that darkness, and the conquest of our light, of this darkness, is the result. This body is the result of that conquest. So now we have a station here through which we can influence and can have a contact with the darkness. This is how I understand the sacrifice. We are the altar in which all this transformation is taking place. There is no other being. There is no Putin, actually. There is me. I am Putin, and I am Trump, and I am everything what is happening in the world. Only I don't want to see it, and because my mind works like this, I want to protect myself. But truly speaking, I am all of it. And in this case, of course, there is no duality, as you are pointing out. So the white steed, when it is born in front of the days, notice, in front of the days, not the nights. it is also something very interesting. Then the growth of consciousness becomes very different. It moves from day to day. So the days are coming, and he is in front of the days. No more the days and nights in our consciousness. We see night differently. We see it as an assimilative process. We don't see it as an opposing power to light.
So in front of the days, do you think that that's means in time?
It means that the whole evolutionary process is changing. It becomes not this diving constantly and being unhappy with this meeting the dark forces. It is something else. It's movement from light to greater light.
Mm.
It will happen one day that we will have no problem with the night anymore. We will move from light to greater light in our evolution. And then he will be like the steed in front of the days. The divine will lead us on this path.
Right.
I'm chuckling here because, of course, in this last century with the electric light, so many people have been lured and drawn into trying to do this artificially. And then, of course, that if one has light exposure constantly, it upsets the system. It isn't this real thing, but it gets it's so tempting. You want it, you desire that light.
It's interesting, yeah. What you say, that means we are, even in the physical world, even symbolically, we bring more light into the darkness. And of course, darkness will rise, and there will be, before the dawn, as Sri Aurobindo says, that the night is the deepest and the darkest before the dawn. So there will be the rise of darkness, what we experience today.
Yikes.
Yikes. Anyhow, I said too many words. I should speak less words somehow. Here, what is beautiful in this verse, what I see is Agni and Surya, Manas and Chakshus. And they are kind of separated, as if the minds of those who seek the divinization go straight to Agni, as if the visions into the Surya. This is something very subtle here, which I don't totally see, but I feel there is a meaning in it. So as the minds of the human beings seeking divinization go straight to the divine will, the mind and the divine will. Our mind, manas, has one particular feature, free will.
Mm.
No other organ or no other faculty of consciousness has that free will, only mind. That's why Rishi exclaims somewhere, Aham Manur Abhavam, I became Manu, Surya and Surya. And again, look, Manu and Surya. Again, the same kind of parallel. Manu as the mental being. To become a mental being is to be able to choose things at will. That's why Rishis always speak about this Manisha Vik Vish, that means the, or Manushi Vish, the mental people or the human beings, the human peoples. Yeah? So why? Because they have mind. And this mind makes our free will possible. We can choose what to do. We are no more driven only by nature. We have a choice. Nature, in its evolution, produced beings which can will now on in a right way in the evolutionary direction of the development of nature. So nature now requires the participation of these human beings who have free will. It does not evolve anymore in the same manner as it did in the past, unconsciously, over billions of years, evolving certain species. It requires now a rapid evolution. And it came to the stage where the human beings are capable of willing that evolution for her. We are working for her here. We are her representatives here in this evolutionary process.
Doesn't that require buddhi to be able to discriminate what the higher purpose is and to be able to choose between, I mean, you have to have the discrimination working first, I would think, or underneath the manas to be able to make those choices, to even see what to choose, to even know where the choices are.
Of course, it requires buddhi, yeah. But you are speaking language of the post-Vedic. Yeah, you speak buddhi. Buddhi, nobody uses this here.
Okay, don't use buddhi then, but I'm just saying that I mean maybe manamsi here in the Vedic language includes buddhi.
Exactly, it includes buddhi. It means the mind, the free will. You can choose something which is going even against you or against others or against your welfare. You can sacrifice. You can do an effort based on the idea, not on the drive of nature, on the common sense, as it were, of nature. You can go against common sense. You have a free will. Now you can invite the gods. You can do tapasya. Why should you do tapasya if you are not driven by will? You will never do. No, animals don't do tapasyas. So they live their natural way of living, but we can do it. And here the manansi of the ones who are seeking divinization goes straight to Agni. So our free will component joins the divine will. As our visions, chakshunshi, join together in Surya, in this higher vision, in the eye of the gods. So look, our will connects with divine will, and our vision, knowledge, or buddhi, if you will, connects with the divine buddhi or divine vision. And then only he is delivered by the dark, by the night and dawn, and becomes the steed in front of the days. The steed in front of the days. What a beautiful image. Yeah? In front of the days. Agre, leading the days. He's the leader of the days. There are very beautiful here passages. Let me read what I wrote. That was written long ago. As the sight, yeah, it is the divine will, Agni, that the thoughts, intentions of those who aspire to divinize their nature completely fixed upon, as all their seeings and visions are fixed on the sun, is the origin of light. When the night and dawn, the two mothers, finally deliver him, he is born as a white steed in front of the days. As the sight is fixed on the sun, the origin of light, the mind is fixed on fire, as the origin of will, to be of all those who aspire for the divine. The growth of inner flame is symbolically rendered here as the hidden growth and delivery by the two mothers of night and dawn. These two sisters fed him in the evolutionary process. The dawn was bringing him a new light every day, and the night was assimilating it into his being. And when he was ready to start the life on his own, or of his own, as fully formed being, they delivered him, and he became the white steed in front of the days. The nights would be not necessary anymore, and the evolution will continue from light to greater light.
Mhm.
There is a description of the vision of Ashwapati from above on the lower hemisphere and the ascent of Agni. His heights of being lived in the still self. His mind could rest on a supernal ground and look down on the magic and the play where the God-child lies on the lap of night and dawn, and the everlasting puts on time's disguise. This is totally a vision of this verse. You can see it, yeah? The God-child lies on the lap of night and dawn. These are two mothers who delivered him, and the everlasting puts on time's disguise. There is another description by Sri Aurobindo of the fire finally arriving to the higher realms of consciousness, which is very similar to the imagery of the release of Agni as the white steed in front of the days. At last, the traveler in the paths of time arrives on the frontiers of eternity.
Mhm.
In the transient symbol of a humanity draped, he feels his substance of undying self and loses his kinship to mortality. The mighty kingdoms of the deathless flame aspired to reach the being's absolutes out of the sorrow and darkness of the world, out of the depths where life and thought are doomed. Lonely mounts up to heaven the deathless flame. In a veiled nature's hollowed secrecies, it burns forever on the altar mind. So you see altar mind here, interesting. Its priests, the souls of dedicated gods, humanity, its house of sacrifice. Once kindled, never can its flaming cease. A fire along the mystic paths of earth, it rises through the mortal's hemisphere till born by runners of the day and dusk. It enters the occult eternal light and clambers whitening in the invisible throne. This is the white steed in front of the days. Till borne by runners of the day and dusk, it enters the occult eternal light and clambers whitening to the invisible throne. I can see so many parallels between Sri Aurobindo's Savitri and these Vedic hymns. In the meaning, not even in the form, in the meaning itself. In the
So
present.
is this from Savitri? It's kind of got that
Yeah, it is Savitri, Sri Aurobindo.
Savitri.
He's using totally Vedic imagery. By the way, it helped me a lot to understand what is being intended in the Veda. If Sri Aurobindo would not be there, it would be quite difficult, because what we have in the interpretation other than Sri Aurobindo, I mean from the orthodoxies, yeah, from Orthodox Nirukta or Shankaracharya, it's very little. There is not much. Even Dayananda Saraswati, no. But you have, of course, Maharishi was speaking about this, no? But we don't have access to his works. So we never studied him. So, but psychological interpretation was never given. If you read two texts of this kind, it gives you more scope of understanding. That's why I put these passages after this verse.
It's quite brilliant.
Yeah. Where the God-child lies on the lap of night and dawn. There is another phrase where Sri Aurobindo speaks on the lap of the mother. The soul sees. On the lap of the mother, the soul sees. Janishta, he, genio agre ahnam, it continues. Oh, beautiful. Hito hiteshu, arusho vaneshu, dame dame, saptaratna dadhanach, agnir hota, nisha sada, yajiya. Yea, he is born victorious in front of the days. A ruddy worker, established in the established delights of things, upholding in house after house the seven ecstasies, strength. Strength has taken his seat as a priest of the offering, mighty for sacrifice. This is the result of him being in front of the days. Born is he who is worthy of birth in front of the days. I'm translating literally worth of being born, genia. The bright flaming worker is established in the established delights of things. They are all already established, the delights, and he is totally firmly established within them. In every house, he is establishing the seven jewels, Saptaratna Dadhana. Agni, the Hotar, has finally taken his seat, becoming even more active in the sacrifice. Even more active, even greater in his transformation. Right. So literally, Janishta, born indeed he, genia, worthy of birth here, Agreahnam, in front of the days. Hitach, established firmly, Hiteshu, in the established Phaneshu, delights, Arushach, the ruddy one. Vaneshu can be also in the forests, in the greenery, in those who contain Soma, the delight, the juice of life. He is established firmly in those who hold firmly the Soma within them. Dame, dame, in house and house, means in body and body. Saptaratna dadhana, he establishes 7 jewels, 7 precious stones. Agni Rota, Agni, the priest, Nishasada, set down Yajiyan, sacrificing even more.
Can we talk more about the Saptaratna?
Yeah.
Because to me,
7 ecstasies,
seven states of consciousness.
Yeah. To each principle of our nature, there corresponds a certain divine ecstasy, and on each plane, in each body or house, Agni establishes these ecstasies. Sri Aurobindo translates Ratnam, and very often that jewels, wealth, riches are the from the point of view of our feelings or emotions. These are the ecstasies or the delights, the enjoyments. So establishing 7 jewels means for him 7 ecstasies. So on each plane he is establishing these 7 ecstasies because these are the 7 major planes of our existence. By the way, somewhere Sri Aurobindo even says that when we look at the world as 3 times 3, we spoke about this already from the Vedic perspective, yes? Mental, vital, mental, physical, and so on. So within these 3 times 3, he says it is not totally correct. It has to be 7 times 7. 3 times 3 is the simplification of the view, which helps, which gives us a right understanding. But more detailed, more correct would be to say 7 times 7. So here he says that he establishes on each plane 7 jewels or 7 ecstasies from each of these planes. This is Satchit, Ananda, Vijnana, Manas, Prana, and Annam. These are the 7 levels of our existence. 7 streams, 7 rivers. These 7 rivers, 7 divine rivers, they belong to these currents of the divine existence in us. So these jewels or ecstasies of those 7 levels he establishes within us. Now we can be aware of the divine existence. We can be aware of the divine consciousness, of the divine bliss within ourselves, on each level, on the mental, on the vital, on the physical level.
So those 7, say those 7 again, Vijnana.
Satchitananda, Vijnana, Manas, Prana, and Annam. These are the 7 levels mentioned throughout. This is the basis of the Hinduism, starting from the Vedic times.
Satchit, Vijnana.
Manas, Prana, and Annam. Annam is matter, material, physical. Prana is vital. Manas is mental. Vijnana is supramental, which connects the transcendental to our lower hemisphere. Ananda is bliss, pure divine bliss. Chit, tapas is consciousness force. And Sat is the divine existence. being, the divine being. I think about these 7 a bit different, I can say. But you wanted to say something, Julia. Yes, please go ahead.
No, I'm good. No, please.
Though these 7 are there mentioned, which I mentioned right now, I'm thinking about these 7 from the divine, from the Vedic point of view. And from the Vedic point of view, these are different godheads. These are 7 Adityas. It is Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga.
Oh, wait. I gotta get that down.
No problem. I can show you. It's all written. Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, Daksha, Amsha, and Surya. These are 7 jewels. Why? Because they are transcendental. And what is happening here is quite interesting, that these 4, Varuna, Mitra, Aryaman, Bhaga, are considered to be the guardians of the supreme light. They are transcendental Sat, Chit, Tapas, Ananda. But Daksha, Amsha, and Surya, the 3 other godheads, this is the triple supermind. And this triple supermind projects the triple Svar world over mental realms, which projects this triple mental, triple vital, and triple physical, 3 times 3. It comes from the supramental. But behind this, there are 4 which we are never looking for. And these 4 are also present on each level. That's why he says 7 times 7 would be more correct to speak than 3 times 3 about our manifestation. So these 7, I think, these are the transcendental godheads, which with their activities produce this world. And on each level, they have their own representation. And there we can find these jewels. They are there. He can establish them, the divine will, within us. We can have the sense of the divine being in the physical, the sense of the divine consciousness in the physical, force in the physical, divine force, divine bliss in the physical, divine knowledge in the physical, divine soul, self in the physical, and the divine manifestation in the physical. We can have all these 7 senses in the physical, in the vital, and in the mental. It creates a total complexity, beautiful, profound philosophy.
Mm-hmm. So that must be what the Rishi was talking about then, when he was talking about the 2 mothers, or the 2 dawns, that all of these different things have to be integrated into all the options. It has to be integrated.
It was mentioned in another place in a very brief, interesting way. I will show you. Now, if you will reread everything, we will see here it is. When he has uncoiled the long cord of his hosts. What is this long cord of his hosts? Number 3. Strength shines pure by the pure herd of the radiances. For the Godheads, for the goddess who discerns grows in plenitude, this is the dawn, and is yoked to her works, and he is yoked to her works. He exalted, she extended supine. He feeds on her with his flames of the offering. This long cord of his hosts, of the divine will, all the elements are there, from the divine existence to the divine, to the matter, to the material manifestation. He can establish all the powers within ourselves. Rashana. Rashana is the cord or the rope even of Gana, of his hosts, of Gana. Interesting, because he is Ganapati. Gana is the group or the crowd. And why cord of his crowds? Because this cord has a succession, one after the other. They have to come. They cannot come all together. They have to come one after the other, one by one, as it were.
So hosts is not exactly the right translation then.
Well, Gana.
So Gana means, when it says hosts, it means like the population then. The whole.
Yeah, his being, his inner being is populated by the divine presences or the divine forces, powers, and they have to be revealed one by one. That's what he's doing. He's revealing them in manifestation. And then what happens? For the goddess who discerns grows in plenitude. So the Divine Mother with all her 7 Adityas, that is she, Aditi, with all these 7 jewels which will be established, grows in plenitude and is yoked to her works. He becomes exalted by this overwhelming presence of the Transcendental Mother. She extended supine, she grows wide. He feeds on her with his flames of the offering. I don't know, it's so intuitive, so visionary and profound. Then I don't think our mind can dissect everything. There is some process of interaction of the transcendental and the will engaged here in transformation.
Definitely. So, and it's all part of the sacrifice.
This is the sacrifice. Yeah. This is how sacrifice is viewed.
Right.
It's not the sacrifice of the animals and eating their meat, of course. Or pouring some butter into the fire and thinking this is it. No way. It's just a symbol of some transformative process of the growth of fire within us. Without this fire within us, nothing can be done. We feel when we lose the fire. We know it, no? When the fire is extinguished.
Well, not ever really. It can't be extinguished. It just...
No, when it goes beyond the veil, when you don't feel it anymore, you become a kind of a person who lives outward life. You feel the loss of that energy divine within you. And you feel that you don't want to live like this, even if you have everything. You are not happy. Why? Because we are mainly that fire. We are here for that work. So all those Putins and Trumps, they are just poor people. They suffer. They suffer much more than we do.
Definitely.
So.
Well, they're not worthy of birth in front of the days. They have the birth in back of the days, at the back end of the days.
Well, they play their role. They bring all the darkness up to the surface because it has to be seen and transformed. We have to face it. They do a lot of work for this.
They do. Yeah.
They churn the darkness, and it rises, and we see what is to be done, what is to be transformed, what we don't like in ourselves, we see. Mm. We see in them what we don't like in ourselves. It's already the beginning of change. Well, we have enough to see of our own what we don't like. Don't need others to help us. Yeah.
Well, but as a culture, we do. As a cult, it's amazing how easy it is to deny. To say, well, that's them that are evil and dark, and not me. I'm not like that.
Of course. Yeah.
So easy to just, your ego is always protecting, some part of you, and it's a lie.
Of course. But we know the tricks of ego. We fall into them once in a while, but we can see that what we
Yeah.
did, we immediately feel that it wasn't right. We feel it.
Right.
And something is shrinking in us when we do it. So we want back, we want out of it. So we fall into this.
That's Agni, isn't it? That we see that, and we because that Agni is always there, propelling us out of that smallness.
Yes. Wonderful. Great. So we can stop here for today. I will. So we will continue from this one from number 6 from number 6. We are moving very slow, actually.
You need to kick me out of your classes if you want to go faster.
No, why should I do that? We go deep. We can't go deep.
This is great to really go over and over it.
Of course. And if you go now over the whole verse, you will see it totally different. You will see the details which were not seen before, not felt before. That's the advantage of dwelling on the verses. Going around and returning and missing the point and coming back until it is becoming more and more clear as a vision.
So we should do that at the end of all the books. Is go, we dig deep, and then we go and
then we gather, we collect all the bits into one.
Collect them all. Yes.
Yeah, we will do this. Yeah.
Brilliant.
All right, I'm closing then. Om Vang me manasi pratisthita mano me vachi pratishtitam aviravi brahmayedi vedasyama ani shrutam me ma prahasi anena dhitena horatran samdadhami aritam vadishyami satyam vadishyami tanmam avatu tadvaktaram avatu navatu mam avatu vaktaram avatu vaktaram. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om.